All right. Forgot to put on the dang music. Alrighty then. Oh boy. One of those days. We got an ad starting in 3 minutes. I'm a fool and forgot that I have coffee that I'm supposed to go grab. So I'm gonna go grab my coffee. Um, you guys can just chill until like the ad starts. So just give me a couple minutes. All right, I've returned. And people in my neighborhood are setting off once again. I also forgot that the starting soon screen doesn't allow my desktop. So, that's what I get for not being prepared. But that said, um, yeah, we're starting today with a little bit of continued character design stuff. Because the only thing that I haven't worked on yet is figuring out the shapes for Reyna's legs. So, I'm basically going to go figure that out real quick. And by real quick, I mean however long it takes. Uh, But yeah. So we're gonna do a little bit of working on Raina's legs. And then we're gonna work on a piece that I started thumbnailing last night. So that's just what I'm feeling like today, I guess. And our ad starting now-ish. So I'm gonna sit here and sip my coffee and contemplate. As Jim Hopper said, you know, mornings are for coffee and contemplation. It's not the morning, but it sure as hell feels like it. I also have another Twitch window open because I'm lurking in someone else's stream while I'm also live. What a day. It is the 4th of July. So, you know, happy Freedom Day while we're still allowed to celebrate. I think I'll just start. Usually, when I'm doing one of these, like, studies for this character, what I've been doing is I've broken down her original character concept, and I'm just going to start breaking this down into shapes. So, like, her leg is this weird kind of black cone shape. I think this technically classifies as a trapezoid. No, it doesn't. I'm damn fool. Trapezoids have to have 2 even sides. So, at least in this particular posture. But her legs are basically always going to have these little shapes. In the bottom. From the knee down to the ankle. It's kind of a weird 4-sided polygon. Well, 5-sided. It's actually more of a pentagon. So that makes up her calves. And then obviously, the feet are just kind of gonna be whatever the fuck this shape is. Because a lot of it's just figuring all that out. I mean, typically, when I'm doing one of these, I'll do this little draw over just to figure out approximately what the shapes in the form are going to be. Legs, we put in these little ovals to represent where the knees are approximately. And then up here, this whole pelvic area is a pentagon shape. Take this, put it over. And we'll do some lines of flow. Just to designate the movement of the legs. I do it on the original, which is actually a better place to put these lines. So there's like a taper to the leg. Just good practice to figure out where those things are going to be. And her tail is just all motion, technically. Because it's just one big sweeping motion from one end to the other. At least in this particular posture. It's not always going to be like that. But it's just good to acknowledge when it is. You know, it's a good baseline to follow. I think a lot of people like drawing tiefling characters with the idea of like, oh, this character has a tail, or, you know, and thinking about what shape that tail is. I don't think people tend to consider like, how would somebody who's like bipedal walk with a tail? Like, how do you manage it? So that's a whole other thing that should be considered. So maybe could I title these notes so I know what the hell I'm doing. All right. Now to play this fun game. Character color. A separate layer. We're gonna start this little pelvic area here. So we're looking at this area straight on. It's going to be this like weird pentagon shape, kind of. I vaguely know the names of some of these like some of these areas as far as like the anatomy. I can't remember most of them off the top of my head. Oh, so for anybody wondering, I didn't stream on Wednesday because I was feeling terribly sick, and I spent most of my morning yesterday at the urgent care, and then I had to take a trip to one of the local hospitals because the doctor at the urgent care wanted me to get a chest x-ray and an ultrasound done to make sure that there's no issues with my heart, like no fear of like heart failure or anything. And I had to get like blood work and a bunch of other shit done, and everything was fine. They're just like, hey, it looks like you're having an asthma exacerbation because of the shitty weather. And I'm like, gee, thanks. I was stupid, however, and didn't just go directly to the pharmacy to pick up the stuff that they prescribed me, because I'm like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow, because I didn't want to spend the money yesterday to go across town to the pharmacy in an Uber and then come home. Especially because my Ubers have a bad habit of me putting in multiple stops and them just leaving me wherever I am, which is what happened today. So I went out today to go and get that done and forgot that the pharmacy that I usually get my stuff filled at is inside of a clinic. And the clinic was closed today because it's the 4th of July. So I have to wait now until Monday to pick up the stuff that they prescribed me, which is just, steroids, prednisone. So that's fun. Yeah, it was a really interesting time. I got to be the example / training dummy, basically, for a new physician's assistant who had never done an ultrasound before. And I had to listen to the guy who was training her basically tell her like how to do a heart ultrasound, which is kind of funny. And he's like quizzing her on like, hey, do you know what we're looking at? Do you know how to do this particular study? And that was just really fun. And, there was a couple points where I'm like, oh, wow, that kind of hurts. And this guy's like, that shouldn't hurt you. That's kind of weird. So we started having that conversation. He's like, hey, man, I just need you to bear with me. This might be uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, man, go ahead, do your job. I came here looking for some kind of help, so I consented to whatever it is you have to do to get me out of here with a clean bill of health. And he's like, I wish more people that came into the hospital understood that this is like kind of the price that you pay for the assistance, is sometimes it's going to be uncomfortable. And I'm like, yeah, man. And I'm like, it's just, you're doing your job. The way that I look at it, either I leave here okay, or it's not going to be my problem anymore. So, fuck it. And he's like, that's kind of morbid, but, he's like, at least you got a good attitude about it to an extent. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't be upset with the other people here. I'm like, no one comes to a hospital because they're feeling good. People are afraid and they're anxious. And that only gets worse every so often, especially with, like, problems with insurance and stuff. And he's like, yeah, I get that. And he looks at me and goes, hey, man, what do you do for a living? And I'm like, oh, I work in IT. I'm feeling better, man. Thanks for asking. When I tell the guy that I work in IT, he stops for a second, looks at the girl he's training, looks over at me, and is just like, do you like it? And I'm like, it pays the bills. I don't know. I don't really work in a way that I like. But yeah, so just fun story from the hospital yesterday. But yeah, so our little pelvic area's got this little, like, pentagon shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's actually a weird shaped hexagon. Because of this. This is actually supposed to be a curved area, but I'm just flattening it out for the purpose of simplification. I'm looking at all of Reina's fucking weird-ass accessories that I've given her. Don't worry, I don't do erroneous belts. I've grown beyond that point in my life. I don't just put belts because they're cool. I've long since outlived my disappointment for not being able to afford a pair of trip pants. so I don't have to live vicariously through my characters anymore. Yeah, so Reina has 2 belts that she wears. One of them is literally a belt that carries the sheath for her sword, which, when I do the actual page of like clothing and accessories, that's when we'll talk about her sword. There's nothing really special about it. It's just the fact that it's there. So this little like belt that's going across the hip is the sword belt. And then the horizontal belt, handle here, this is the more utilitarian belt. It's got all the pouches and stuff on it. Now, one of the things we're going to do real quick, I'm just going to take this and make it a little bigger. Sorry, I just had to nuke a bot. So now we're working from this little simplified pelvis that we've drawn. We draw our legs. I'll start with an oval to designate them. We've established that the legs are this weird kind of cone shape, at least from the perspective of the initial drawing. So we just maintain that shape to the best of our ability. So when you're viewing like the upper leg and thigh from straight on, it's going to have this little like, it's going to jut out a little bit and then taper back in on one side. And the inner side should stay fairly short. Of course, Reina doesn't really get this little thigh gap area. She is not. She is unfortunately, depending on who you ask, cursed and or blessed with the thickness of thighs. Because she fucking walks everywhere. So, you know, the thighs and the calves of God. She's pretty small basically everywhere else. I'll take this one just a little bit. And then for the leg down to the ankle, this shape. Which again, just like on the outside, or with the thigh up above, you're gonna have a little bit of a taper, and then you're going to have it dip inward. And then right up here, like I said, we'll have our little designation for about where the knee is. For the most part, I get a lot of this shape stuff because I have watched an unhealthy amount of tutorials over the years of drawing, and like, you know, spending 6 years dating an artist and asking her questions when I wanted assistance with stuff. And you know, being told to just do like timed figure drawing exercises, which I still don't do nearly as much as I probably should. I hate drawing feet from the front because it's kind of a bitch. Yeah. So now we compare this to up ahead. We've rotated the body a little bit. We've put in some basic shapes of some of the clothing. I'll add in some more details just for the heck of it. Like the fact that Reyna's pants have these weird little like stitched areas on the side. Very classical, like stitched breeches. And then we'll add in the shape of her boots. Which her boots have this little overhang. And her boots cut off at the knee, so that way, from the knee down, you have this little like tent shape almost. I do that for two reasons. One, it helps me designate the cutoff between the upper thigh and the knee. So that's like how I've made a landmark for myself in her design. And also, I just kind of like how it looks. I like the look of the pirate boot. And then I have like her little belts to secure the boots in place. Nice. Welcome in, Fox. Glad to have you lurking. Hot dogs. So we add in these little shapes, and then we do just like a quick comparison to the above, where we're going to test our flow lines and make sure that we still have the general shape flow of the actual lower body silhouette. So it should be down and down like this. Since we're facing straight, then one side should come completely straight down, with, you know, some exceptions. I end up creating a line of flow here because of the shape of the boot. Bard. Hey, you got Bard class while we're drawing a Bard character. Fantastic. That's how I'm feeling today, I guess. Well, you feeling like singing and dancing? I saw somebody drew a political cartoon earlier that was Uncle Sam in the Statue of Liberty with a birthday cake, and he's like, "Man, 249 birthdays. What should we wish for?" The Statue of Liberty goes, "A 250th." What, seeing the new Jurassic film didn't make you want to dance a little bit? I'm Americant, yeah. It was like just okay. Oh, that's kind of sad. And I'm going to try and reproduce a little bit of this little pose that's up here. Just going to erase this. And just trying to do this basically completely from the primitive shapes that I identified in the silhouette, so as to not overcomplicate it for me. I cut out a bunch of stuff that would make it rated R, I think, and it suffered. Hand surgeons making bank tonight. Yeah. So many people out there blowing their fingers off, dude. Yeah, so basically, I did a draw over to identify the shapes in this lower body area, then reproduced it facing the front to get some idea of like some of the other shapes and anatomy that would be there. Now, I'm basically using the primitive shapes that I've identified up above and trying to recreate that same posture just using those shapes. Fucked that up. The life is shapes. Yeah, it is. Well, everything's about shapes, man. Dog is having a rough time with the fireworks. I can imagine. My cat was having a hard time with them initially, when they started earlier this week. But I think we've both just gotten used to it now. Looking up this other leg. Cats used to not care at all. One was too ditzy, the other was too smart. Yeah, that's... If you have more than one cat, that's always the dynamic. One of them is very intelligent, the other one's a complete fucking idiot. That's a rule. There is no way around that. Oh, I didn't know there was an ad going. Oh, whatever. So... So far, this pose recreation is looking pretty good. I think one thing that I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to add the detail for adding a little bit of her tail to both of these. Trying to figure out where her tail would actually sit when viewed from the front. I'm going to add this little circle to designate the bump where her tail begins. I think it probably goes like this. Viewed from the front, it'll do this. Thankfully, the tail is just a big sweeping shape. You think the aliens that seem to frequent the rural US think we're fighting back every 4th? Maybe. It wouldn't be surprising to have the 4th of July be completely misunderstood by other species. And you already know for this one, the tail starts right about here. Down this big sweeping arc. Switched everything again, which was a mistake. Honestly, out of all the drawings for Raina's anatomy and research, this has been the most straightforward one. I have done 3 reproductions of her initial face sketch, and it's been a frustrating process every time. Like, there's the initial sheet where I did everything the first time, which I felt really successful with, because I've never drawn her face this good. Then I went and did the second one. and everything got kind of weird. Because I simplified the shapes on one side. And to clarify this, what I did in order to get these shapes is I did the exact same thing that I showed at the beginning. I did like a rough trace over of these shapes. Drawing is a lot like makeup. When it comes to facial structures, yeah, it can be. It's the only comparison I have. Yeah, it's a pretty fair comparison, because it's like, there's just some things that are hard for me specifically to reproduce. So I did this first one, traced out where all of her shapes were, did the draw over to designate them, and then drew both images again. And then went in and I put in notes of where I messed up to identify, like, oh, this is something that needs to be fixed. So, like, there's supposed to be a gap between her head and this horn on this side. Also, her horns in this picture are too thick. They're supposed to be thinner. And when I went with this, just her whole facial angle is wrong compared to the original. And again, horns are too thick from the side. So I went in and I did the second attempt, but then I added a step for the second attempt. So again, went in, did the draw over for the facial shapes, and then I did a I did a draw over / like trace to get the shapes of what her hair is supposed to be. Did the front face, and then just on principle, I actually traced her face from above and brought it down so I could do a side-by-side comparison of this redraw and the original. And one of the things that I ended up noticing is just like her face top to bottom is just too short in this one compared to the other. And when I did the third attempt, I added a bunch of extra steps that maybe I didn't need to add, but I did anyway. So, did a trace over of the head shapes, did trace over of the hair shapes in a different color, and then overlaid them, just to get an idea of, like, if this is where her head circle shape stops, this is the approximate distance between where the actual shape of the head stops and where the hair should begin. And then I did that for both, and just to, like, create more landmarks. Then did another trace over of the actual faces themselves, just to get some of the shapes down. And then did the third attempt, which is still closer than the others, but there's still just something that ain't right. So this is one of those things I'm going to have to do a sickening number of times, if I'm being entirely honest. We did do her upper body study with some hands added in. Weird feeling with art where something just ain't quite right. Yeah. That feeling is, at least really, it's constant. Because the thing that I hate most is being able to draw something one time and look at it and be like, damn, that looks really good. And then you try to do it again and again, and you're just like, why doesn't it look as good as that one time? And that's why you gotta practice your consistency. It doesn't make it any less frustrating. But, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do. And now we finally did her notes. I'll probably come in and do, like, some actual notes on this at some point. But so far, like, it wasn't. So the next page that I do for Reina is going to be like a clothing and accessory page where we're going to go over all the different aspects of her outfit. That's going to give me an excuse to actually draw inanimate objects. My consistency is vicious. In which way? And now we get to do this fun thing. Oh, viscous, like the fluid. Gotcha. So what I'm going to do here for this piece is I'm going to copy this part of the canvas to make a duplicate layer. I'm actually going to make this 2 separate full drawings on 2 separate canvases. So paste in that sketch, size it up a little bit, enter it. Oh, dang it. The whole background is missing. Merge these down because I apparently drew the background on a different layer, like a fool. And then again, we'll copy. And copy this. And now we're going to paste it. Now that we have the background included. And we're going to size it up so it fits the way we want it to. I don't want it to go all the way to the end because I want it to have that like Polaroid frame. Imagine there was a physical backrooms for a canvas like there is for digital like that. Imagine. Let's see. I do want to stylize this one a little bit though. Primarily because, like, as much as I love Life is Strange as a game, you can't deny that the graphics for the game itself are fucking horrid. Like, it looks very bad. The cool thing is, it made figuring out Max's hair very easy because you can see how her hair is split into 3 parts because of the modeling. But I do want to stylize this a little bit. Since this piece is like Undertale inspired, I think I want to go with like a more Undertale-esque art style, which means I need to go actually look up some art from Undertale. Maxed out Caulfield. Yeah, man. I'm gonna look this up on my phone so I don't have to move around my windows and such. I don't really want to do this in like the pixel style of Undertale. I want to do something more that's in the style of like the actual like box art and such. Or, you know, more akin to some of the fan art that I've seen. Fireworks take too long. Why don't they just make one big one? Well, you see, we do have those. I think the first thing we're actually going to do here is we're going to We're gonna start with the background, actually. Right now I have to deal with all the smell of fucking gunpowder sneaking into my apartment. Gotta get all of Max's little Polaroids on the wall back there. Making one side of this 2 round and then try to make a square out of it. Make it into a damn circle. Today, on a list of sounds that don't make me very comfortable. I wonder how long it's going to be until those are the sounds of actual explosives, you know? Suppose technically that's an option. The only reason why I didn't want to do that is because duplicating it is just a very long and annoying process. Although it does guarantee some level of consistency, so, you know, we take that. Also, I have to merge all of these down into one layer. Do this so many more times. But it's gonna be fun. All these little pieces that I have to do cutaways from are not going to get duplicated because it's going to be rare occurrence. You know, ideally. Honestly, this is one of the best parts about digital art, is that for the more tedious things, you can just do stuff like this. Yeah. So this would just create a very rudimentary version of Max's bedroom in the background. And when we go to do like the final render and stuff, all these little circles, because they're the paper lanterns that she uses, are going to be our light source. So we're going to create this kind of like rim lighting effect on Max. Now, we're going to make the Polaroid frame. The eraser stuff. You can't draw with the eraser. I just want to see if this will work. I'm going to duplicate this, and then we're just going to make it a little bit bigger. Nope, because it's wrong. It's just wrong. Now I'm just going to close some of these lines. Oh man, we got an ad in 40 seconds, so you know, be prepared for that. I might take that opportunity to get up and go grab a beverage. I'm gonna grab a drink real quick. All right. I'm grab my drink. I was gonna order groceries today. Ended up not doing that because once I realized that it was the 4th of July, it hit me that ordering groceries would probably be a terrible idea today. I know that on some of the posts that I've mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit about like things that I'm planning on doing or like stuff that I want to do for the stream. So one of the things I was going to mention, because it's come up before, but it's been very quick, like, hey, we're just going to glaze over it. I do offer a thing for anybody who does subscribe. I'll give you like a character portrait as a thank you for subscribing. To give you an example of what that would look like. It looks like one of these. So, you do like a tier 1 sub, I'll make you one of these little character portraits. You can have the little flower, like the botanical aspect, but it is not necessary. So, if you want to see it without that, it kind of just looks like this. These are character portraits I made for my D&D party, featuring their characters and like characters' favorite flower that they've encountered so far on their journey, or from their backstory. So, and that sounds like something that you might be interested in. You get one if you subscribe. And if you want, I'll even draw it on stream for you / with you, because that's always fun. You just have to send me like a message on Ko-fi or something, or on like Blue Sky, to let me know what you want. Or again, you just fucking tell me in chat, and I'll just look back over the VOD if I have to. And then as far as like sub goals, I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do as far as sub goals, because I want to make sure there's like something for the community to get out of it besides just sitting here watching me do stuff. I haven't really thought about anything as far as that's concerned because my brain just hasn't been in that space recently. So maybe that'll be something I bring up more on like Monday's stream. As I'm trying to get back into the streaming schedule, I'm aiming for 3 days a week. Right now, I'm managing two because there's usually a day where either something comes up or I'm just not feeling good or something work related. So I basically have the 3 day schedule as just a way of saying, hey, if I'm not, ideally, I'll be here all 3 days, but if not, then I'll be here for at least two. And, you know, I appreciate everybody coming to hang out and listen to me yap about shit and watch me draw and or struggle to do so, depending on the day. God, I can't wait until these fireworks are over. The noise is actually starting to irritate me a little bit. Oh. Oh, that's annoying. to make sure I'm not missing any facial details on Max. She does have freckles, I thought so. That's something that won't come in until we actually start adding color, though. I'm giving Max the anime girl eyes. D10 average. Yep. Very average roll there. Also, nothing is more frustrating than discovering that you have a small cut on your thumb by having your pencil roll over that spot over and over again. Now I get to struggle drawing her hands. What a wonderful little treat. I used to have to use so much hand sanitizer daily, and I have a tiny little cut on my thumb, and it's miserable. Yeah, yeah. And I hate it. The pencil just keeps rolling over this one spot on my thumb. It's so irritating. Time for new thumbs. Thumbs that bifurcate into more thumbs. Please no. I don't want to have Eldritch Yowie Man hands. You know what? I think her head looks a little bit too big, but I'm actually okay. I think stylistically it looks really cute. Welcome Yang. With the dancing chibies. sketch layer. And why does it look like you're yapping but there's no sound? I don't know if anyone can hear the actual sound of the fireworks in the background, but I have my noise suppression filter, but my mic is still picking up the background noises, so every time that happens, it triggers the PNG tuber to move. And I have one more layer of text I want to add. Back to the gallery. We'll come back to color that at a later point. I want to get the other one done as well. I've only got like another 20-ish minutes before I have to get off because I have to start getting ready for work. And I am using one of my work monitors as my second monitor for this. Lower the opacity. Once again, we're going to start with the back. That's the wrong brush. completely barren background by comparison. You know, a little bit of hair growth for the secondary phase. And you look up her funeral dress. Why are they setting them off in the parking lot next door? No. Sorry, I'm just very in the zone here. If you couldn't tell.
Celebrate this night with me, although it's not the last time. There's a fire inside of me. I wanna burn for you tonight.
Not even. Oh, jeez. It's too short. Here's one. Can I handle this real quick? Thanks. Hello, this layer. Not too passive. So now I have the exact shape I want to work with. We have Polaroid frame. Now we take downward pressure and smoothing. Back to the script brush. Too much pressure on the pen. Sketch layer. Ooh. A whole concept done in one shot. Well, not necessarily one shot. We got our before and afters. I'll be posting these after stream. I have to go get ready for work. Let me see. Alright, Cube's still streaming, so I will go raid her. Let me just remember how to do that. So yeah, we're gonna go raid Cube, but thank you guys again for coming and hanging out, and you know, for watching me put this concept together and do a little bit of character design in the beginning. We'll be back probably Monday, unless I feel like doing a random stream over the weekend, but we'll see. Probably not, because I think D&D is this weekend. But yeah, that said, thanks as always, and let's go raid a friend as soon as the thing actually lets me do the thing.